I wanted to talk a bit about my experience in the GATE program. So when I was in probably like, I think third or fourth grade, maybe a little bit younger, they did all of the traditional tests that you hear about. You take you into a room and do a hearing test. The room never had windows. You did like tests where you had to like look at things and like figure out like a pattern. I think a lot of it had to do with like pattern recognition and creativity. And then for the first few years, we went to just a room within our school, and we learned about like a very specific topic. I remember one of the years it was like giraffes, and I have no idea why they taught us about giraffes, but like why couldn't we learn about that in the regular classroom? But then, so I know like different people would get kind of like swapped out of the program, or new people would be brought in each year, and so I continued every year. I was in it up until like 8th grade, I think. And then I don't know if it ended then or what. We would eventually, like I think in fourth grade, we started going to a different building that was downtown, and that room also had no windows. And there might have been kids from some other schools, I don't remember for sure, but we learned about all kinds of crazy things. I remember playing like some games on the computer, and then we also we learned about dreams. We did a lot of things with like, I remember this activity where they talked about survival. If you had to go to a desert island, which items would you pick? I remember something about where we had to try to communicate plans without using any words. So like there's a lot of interesting things that they were having us doing for being in like fourth or fifth grade. I want to say maybe some of the fifth graders went too, because I was in a class that was a combination class, and so they claimed that like a fourth and fifth grade combination class, they claimed that was like kids that could work more independently, which was probably true, but a lot of those fifth graders also were going to tag, so that's kind of interesting too, now that I think about it. And I just kind of wanted to bring all of that up, bring up my experience in it. I also have read that there was different programs that you could do like during the summer, and I do one of those. It was obviously outside of the school, and it was kind of citywide, but I was invited to do it. It was something about space. I know whoever talked about it that I found online, they brought up the name of it, and I looked it up, and I was like, that was exactly what I did. So I want to say that was like a week-long little summer camp, and they talked all about space and like I think jobs as like an astronaut. I'm sure they did similar little activities with us. And there's also a lot of similarities. So in case you're not familiar with the GATE program, it is maybe I should have started with this, but it's the Talented and Gifted Education Program, or Gifted and Talented Education Program. If you look online, there's also a lot of similarities in people who have this. So there's leniency with any encounters in law enforcement. I definitely had that. I got in some trouble when I was in high school and then in college, and it was extremely lenient in that regard. And then blue eyes and hazel eyes are very common. I also have found something where they say that they seek out people that have like a inner eye, like in the very center of your eye, it's a different color, and I have that. Only if you look really close you can see that. And so I'm curious about that. I don't know how common that is, but somebody said that was something else that they were looking for. An occipital bun, which I don't know how to tell if I have that or not, and I'm a woman, so I don't know if that's as prevalent to see. A lot of times people will have like premonitions or weird dreams, and that I definitely have. I had 2 incidents where I felt like I was drowning. It's just a lot of similarities of other people that were part of that program. That was just like kind of some of the things that I noted that I had in people listed as similarities of the program. There were a couple of other things. So I was curious to know, any of you that have been in the GATE program, what is your blood type? I'm wondering if they seek out people that are negative, because that's something else I want to talk about. I am negative, so I have heard all kinds of theories about that. So just curious about that.